They be calling folks retards, bro. Bro, we lost a gem when we kept not being able to say that insult. That junk is hilarious, bro. Like literally asking somebody if they're retarded, bro. Like dog, God, dog, bro. Like, are you
Bro, we
retarded?
can't start the podcast off like that, bro. That can't be how we start. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Commas Podcast, episode 10. Yes, sir. Episode 10. We got the lost episode out there somewhere, so we are on episode 10. I don't know, bro. We might have to rename that junk at some point and just actually show up because folks not gonna know what it is.
So here's the thing. Oh, that's a good point. Because I was about to say, if we're talking about lost episodes, bro, like we should just say that like this episode like 25. Yeah, 14 of them was lost. We've been out here consistent. 14 of them got lost. We're still learning. Our bad. Our bad. But yeah, we gonna
How
have
you
to
been, bro?
I've been straight, bro. Let's see. Oh, Cinco de Mayo had a blast for that. Had a blast for that. Other than that, that's probably been it as of late. What you been on?
Not much. I've been chilling. Went to a little music festival a couple weeks ago. That was straight. And just working, bro. Oh,
Any?
did you for Cinco de Mayo? Did you was drinking all day or like what did you do?
No. I didn't drink all day. That probably would have been. That probably would have been preferred. But I just went to Red Pepper Taqueria out in
Okay.
Brookhaven. Do people know where we stay? Is that giving too much information? Brookhaven, Europe.
I was gonna say it's probably like 12
Duh.
Brookhavens in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, Brookhaven, Europe. But me, my brother, basically his wife and slash brother-in-law and their friends was all over there. It's probably like 15, 20-ish of us. We was just over there ordering drinks, chilling, listening to music. Well, yeah, listening to the music that they play. So that's all I did. Like, preferably, and that was afternoonish, so like 5 o'clock-ish. Did that till about probably like 8-ish. But that consisted of my Cinco de Mayo. Like if I had to redo it, I probably would have drank all day, but I don't think I've ever drank all day on Cinco de Mayo. I think I really only celebrated it one other time, and it would have been something similar. Went to eat evening-ish. Speaking of though, you watched Arrested Development, right?
Yeah.
My cousin and me was joking about Cinco de Cuatro.
Bro, I barely remember that episode though.
All I know is everybody. So on the show, the Americans, or maybe it was just white people, but one of the two, they celebrated heavy so that the
Oh yeah, I remember
didn't
that.
have no supplies to celebrate with.
Hey, Arrested
They did a
Development is
whole
a top
festival.
tier show, bro.
Bro, that is a good show, bro. I never forget. Like, I think it's the first episode of season 3 when everybody in the family comes in and does a little chicken dance or whatever you want to call
Oh
it.
yeah.
Man, that junk is hilarious, bro. That junk is hilarious. It might be episode 2, but that junk is hilarious.
That's a good show, bro. It's a top tier show for sure.
What about you? Did you do anything for Cinco de Mayo?
Nah, nope.
Oh, and what I was gonna ask you before was any notable artists that performed at that festival that you went to?
Uncle Waffles.
Who
Uncle
is
Waffles, yeah. Uncle
who is
Waffles is she's a I don't even know if she's from like I think she might be South Africa. I don't know. She's an African DJ. She has like this beautiful blend of African like Afro beats, Amapiano, and like house music. And like so it's like a lot of energy and just it's bread. That joke is turned. And I honestly I didn't even know her like that before I went. Um, but like when I went, so many people went out to see her, came out to see her. It was packed, and I put on my story, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, she's in the U.S., she's in Atlanta." Like I didn't even know. Like da da da. I was like, bro,
no.
I didn't even know, bro. I just bought the tickets because I bought the tickets.
Oh,
So
so
like
this
it
is
was
your first
crazy.
time hearing her?
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
Ooh, that's fun. You go to a festival and find somebody that you like. That's hard.
yeah, bro. I've been listening to her music. Hey, but you know what? I recently discovered some fire Jewish music. That hey, hold on.
That's hilarious.
Bruh, I know what you thinking, bro. But that junk is fire for real, bro. I'm gonna send it to you, bro.
What what's it like? Is the beat fine, the lyrics fine? Like I can't even imagine what it is. I never thought about like a Jewish music.
So you know what I think? So I think it's so like the Jewish people like they have their religious ceremonies and stuff, and they do like they sing their songs, kind of but
Like
it's like
the quinceañera, not quinceañera, but dang, what's it called? For the maybe it's not even
the bar mitzvah.
yeah, bar mitzvahs, bar
Yeah,
mitzvahs.
so
Oh, okay,
okay.
okay,
So
okay.
wait. So there's that, but then like their religious ceremonies are very like they're very solemn, and so it's like kind of slow type music. Da,
Mm-hmm.
da, da. But these guys have like combined the two and then put it behind like some house electronic music. So that junk, and they got a nice little build up in there too. So you start bouncing,
Nah,
and
send me
then
some of
that
that.
beat drops.
Yeah, send me some of that.
Bro, that junk will get you right, bro. You could play that junk in the gym, bro. And you'll start going stupid, bro. That junk will get you right, for real, for
That is
real. That junk is
that's
lit.
hilarious.
Yeah, but I've been expanding my what's it called, my music range. Definitely been getting into a lot more house music, um, electronic, EDM, dance music, European stuff, just like all over the place, bro. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool stuff out there for sure.
When did do you know when this started for you? Like expanding music taste?
It's probably well, no. So it actually started like 2-ish years ago when I was listening to like more rock music, like soft rock, pop rock, like stuff that white people would listen to.
Like who? Like who?
Electric Management, what is it? What is it? Sweater Weather by
Hey, the
uh
neighborhood.
yeah, the neighborhood, yeah, gorillas, like people like
Okay,
that.
okay.
Yeah. And then from there, like graduating to more festival type music. That's how I got into more house and dance music. So like Austin Mills, folks like that. And then from there, like branched out. And then that like in the last 6 months or so, I've gotten way more into that. And at the same time, I've gotten way more into African music as well, but like
Mm,
different types of African music. So like I've been listening to old African music from like the 80s, the 90s, the 70s. And when I tell you the music that they used to be playing back then, because like those were the times where they would like literally have parties and just dance all night. Like
mm-hmm.
hella drugs, hella alcohol, outside in the middle of nowhere, big ass stage, and just blasting me and just dancing like on a Soul Train type vibe, and then but they was like lit. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been listening to that stuff, and so like finding different combinations or variations or things that like play off of that has definitely been what I've been into like the last couple months.
That the dancing stuff makes me think of Michael Jackson's album Off the Wall because it's
Mm.
literally like an album to get you off the wall and onto the dance floor. So like they
Yep.
used to go crazy like from time you walk in, time you walk out. Like
Yeah, bro. Exactly. Exactly. And they was on it, bro. Yeah, that music is lit for real. That's where I've been at. So I'll send you that song. I might I don't know how I can share it, but bro, that
I'll
song
share it on
is
here.
lit. Yeah.
Good copyright.
Facts. Facts.
Oh, but I had a question, bro. I had a question because I've been having this conversation. That's what Wednesday since about Sunday, bro. So like, if when you become a parent, if one of your kids and you can pick the age, let's say any range between like 16 to 22ish, and one of
Mm.
your kids has let's say either your daughter gets pregnant or your son has a kid and they're staying with you, like would you kick them out?
Would I kick them out if they have a kid and I could pick the age? Damn. Oh man. That's a tough question, bro. Um, if they're 18 up, I'm probably kicking them out.
Why?
I mean, at that point, like, because the common phrase is, "Oh, you want to be grown, you can go be grown." At that point, you can go be grown. Like, that's just it. Just is what it is at that point. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think in the majority of circumstances, though, it more so depends on like who is this person that you got pregnant with, and yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, who is this person that you got pregnant with? Because like if it's somebody that's like and like the other thing is what's your demeanor and attitude towards it? Because if it's like, oh, you got pregnant, or you got somebody pregnant and you just expect that, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna just raise my grandkids. We ain't talking about that, sir. That wasn't no agreement that we had. But if there's like, an understanding of, dang, this is less than ideal, um, then I can be a little more open minded to it. But that's a I don't know, bro. That's a game time decision. I feel like in most cases. What you think?
It's so tough to me because I can't say like in 2023 I don't see the you want to be grown so go be grown argument that much because like things have they probably haven't even changed that much if we're being honest, but I don't think things are the same. I think it's a lot more common
Mm-hmm.
uh now, and it's like somebody might have got away without slipping up, somebody didn't. But the thing is, the reason I'm kicking you out though is because I can't raise your kid. Like that baby's
Yeah.
like the baby cry we all hearing that junk. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I hate it for you, but like I think you gotta go. Like, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do here? I think they gotta go. I don't I would wa- I can't even say I would want to not kick them out. Um because like you can hold both your grandkid and your child in one swift move. You can hold them real
Yeah.
quick, but
And
it's
ruin
like
that relationship. Yeah, with
but
both
it's
of
like
them.
what am I supposed to like? I can't like
That's a tough
they just
position.
can't like. It's not that you can't stay here. It's really that the baby can't stay here. But the baby, like, you can't stay here without the baby dog. So I think you're a hoe.
But I mean, like, I could see. I Yeah. I that's It's tough because like it really does. Like it literally resets the counter. Like imagine like just like let's say you got 3 kids, 4 kids. This your last kid. They 17. Everybody else out the house, and your son or daughter come home like, Dad, I'm pregnant. I got somebody pregnant. Yo, I'm gonna be like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yo,
Like,
that was some
yo,
stretch so
we
far,
moving to
dog.
Europe next year, son. Like, you supposed to go to college. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's a tough position, bro. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, I have been having that conversation all week, so I was like, dang, but I don't want to hold you, but I think you're hold. Like I think you're hold, dog.
Yeah, I feel like, especially if it's like I said, if you're 18 and over, I'm definitely more inclined to lean that way.
Hmm.
But it's still not gonna be just like, all right, get out.
Yeah, because I don't know if I could kick my 16 or 17-year-old out.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't think I could, but like after that, like I think it might be. I still don't even know how I handle a 16 or 7. Like even like 2 years, that's gonna be the worst 2 years that the kid. Like that's the worst years. Like they're not gonna
Yeah.
be. They're not gonna
Yeah.
keep me up for 2 years, then you skip out. Like no, bro. I don't know. That's tough.
It
That's tough.
is. It's very tough.
Going from babies though to like the opposite end of the spectrum. Did you see where Joe Biden formally announced that he was running for re-election?
Bro, you ageist. You are ageist.
We all should be when it comes to president, bro. Like 100%. I'm not voting for
Hey,
nobody that's 80 nothing for president. 80
but you know
nothing.
what? You know what though? You know what? I will say I used to be very against having somebody that is older for president. I'm dialing back a little bit on that because I think there is so much experience. There's just so much stuff that they've seen from different, and I'm thinking about this like from a policy perspective, like one in the ways that like the events that have happened with other countries, the dynamics, how those things have changed, the policies, the wars, things that have worked and things that haven't. And like even in like within America, like the way that law has changed and policies have changed over time, they have more experience and have seen more of that kind of. So I'm dialing back. I still now don't get me wrong. I still don't think that you should be like 90 plus, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to be able to carry yourself with a little bit of, conviction and some good manner, but I'm a little bit more open to an older person being president versus like somebody in their 40s.
So like if you run for your second term at 70, I will cut you some slack. After that, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. They're gonna have to show me some, bro. They're gonna have to show me some. It's gonna have to be like I'm trying to think, bro. I'm trying to think what they're gonna have to show me. Cause like I don't even know if you really know like anything that's going on with technology, especially today at 80. Like 80, 20 years from now might be a little bit different. Like you grew up with computers in the house and all this stuff. Like you might be hip on it. I don't know if you are at 80
But you don't
today.
but you don't have to but you don't have to know technology though to be president.
You don't, bro, but like that's a big part of like life in general.
But that doesn't that like that literally the only thing that affects is not like the only thing that affects is the military. And you're gonna have like people that are running the military. So you don't have to know anything about technology, not at that level. Congress, for sure, you need to understand like what's going on because you're the one that's supposed to be writing these policies and understanding how to govern and X, Y, and Z. But the president is it's almost strictly policy.
Yeah, that's very fair. And then the other part of it though too is if I can remember it. Oh, I don't know how in touch with reality you are at that point. Like things was so different when you was different ages. So I think that's gonna happen in general. So I think like when you get around the 50s, 60s, I think you're way more in touch than like the 80s. But the other thing is like my grandma's a loved the lady to death. Would never in a million years vote for her for president. Like that's just it's too old for me, bro. But the other
But
thing, one more thing is like part of my barometer for will I vote for you for a president. Like, if we got in a boxing ring, though, I think you could like give me a fighting chance. Like I can't do it. Like Putin, like that dude, he's pretty G. Like I can he might can hold his own over there. I'm like, come on, like somebody that's 80, like no, like it don't sit well right here. It don't sit well for me.
I get it. Like yeah. I mean, for me, it's just I don't know. To each his own, but like to each his own. But I definitely see the value of having somebody that's a little older that has been in like that has seen policies in different administrations. It can like talk to what works and what doesn't work and why. Like you got to have some ability to reason based on what you've seen and what you've done. And I feel like the older you are, the more likely it is. Now, again, I don't think you should be 80 nothing trying to run. that's just not the move. Because like you really got to think about like that joint's gonna take a mental toll on you and a physical toll. And you already like I I don't like you can't be giving up your life force for the present. Like that's just not a smart move at all. So
Like, if you want to own a business, fine by me. The leader of the free world, I can't do it. I can't. There might be other people who can, but I can't do it. The other thing with it though, the other thing with it though is with election year being next year, what are some things that you want to see like talked about? Or not even
Joe Biden's failure to eliminate student. Bro, every time I get a chance, I'm gonna say that, John. Joe Biden's failure to eliminate student debt, because that's the only reason he got voted in office, and he knows it. All of the Democrats know, and the fact that he's running again is bro. I'm gonna go off. That's disrespectful. That's just disrespect. The fact that he's running again after knowing that he didn't get no student loans canceled. They've been trying to do this propaganda about, oh, he got student loans canceled for people that work for the government and do not. No, nigga, fuck that shit. My student loans is still here. My shit didn't. Bruh. Yo, on me, I might buy a ticket to the fucking caucus to debate just so I can ask that goddamn question, bro. I'm so serious. They gonna have to carry me out there.
Bro, you know what they gonna say. We started the job the first term. We gonna finish the job.
I'm gonna throw a shoe at them like they did with George Bush.
We started in the first term. We gonna finish it the second term.
I'm gonna throw a shoe at them, bro.
Year 4, bro. We gonna have no progress made on it, bro. That is crazy. You're absolutely right. It's been so long at this point. I forgot that it's even something that they talked about.
I hate them, bro. I hate the whole Biden administration. For that fact alone, I hate them. I absolutely. I'm almost certainly not voting for Joe Biden. Like that's how upset. Like he gonna have to pull out a real star-studded performance to get my vote, because there's like zero chance that I'm. Yeah.
You said he got to about November 8th to cancel them all.
Bruh, like, oh my God.
That's crazy.
Bro, let that man go on. Please let him go on tour. Let me hear some shit. I'm going to be his ass.
Oh, that is hilarious, bro.
Oh, all right. But on a serious note, I mean, that is pretty serious. But other things.
Like, legit, straight up.
Oh no, I didn't say Siri. Oh damn, wait, I can't say that shit now. All right. Anyways, other things that I'm concerned about. I'm super interested to hear about foreign policy. Extremely interested to hear about that, because I think that personally, I think we are escalating situations with Russia and China, and I'm getting increasingly more concerned. And I don't think that we're doing it in a smart way, because I think while we're getting, this is harsh, but while we're getting distracted by playing bodyguard to European countries, China is economically and strategically positioning themselves to, take over, like from a global world power. And if we say money runs everything, like China is literally positioning themselves to do that. And I think, I don't know, I just don't feel the same sense of I just don't feel confident in the direction that we're going. I don't think that we have invested enough in South America to be well positioned against China, because China, Russia, these other places are slowly starting to increase their influence in Europe and Asia. Our European allies are starting to say, hey, we need to not get dragged into America's BS. So it's basically going to be Asia and, some parts of Europe, and then China has been investing super heavily in Africa and America has not. So it's going to almost become literally a West versus East, side of the world kind of thing. And like I said, I don't think we've invested enough in South America. We definitely haven't invested enough in Africa, and our allies across, in Europe are starting to kind of back off a little bit. So I'm going to be super interested to hear about foreign policy. Um, Super interested to hear about I don't know, domestic policy too, in terms of like a lot of the a lot of the social, I guess, kind of issues that are coming up. But I mean that not like I want to hear my president say, "Oh, critical race theory should be taught in schools or not." More from we need to have mechanisms in place that can deal with that and not be getting dragged into those type of conversations. Like I don't know. I want to have a president that creates an environment where we can have healthy debate, healthy discussion. We can have free speech and it's enforced, and we're not worried about people getting canceled or shit like that because people are soft or people just being bitches. Like I want to be able to have healthy discourse, healthy dialogue about things that are important and are sensitive without feeling like, oh, I might get canceled or this might happen. Like there shouldn't be repercussions, and we need to have, I think, a president that takes care of that. And the other thing, in terms of domestic policy, is gun violence. I think that's important to me, as well as just taking care of our people in general. Homeless rates, the economic crisis, housing crisis. I want to understand like what the fiscal policy is going to be like, because the government has honestly been spending a ridiculous amount of money and fucking playing chicken with the debt ceiling, as if it's not important. Like we're literally trillions of dollars in debt. We're building up a war with another global power, arguably the number 2 global power in the world, and we don't have any money. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So I think those are probably the things that are most important for me is foreign policy, uh, gun policy, and then economic, fiscal policy, locally or domestically within the U.S.
While we're while we're here on gun policy, since we was going to talk about that a while ago, and since I was on the list to talk about that, so the mass shooting in Texas happened. I think like 8 people were killed. As far as gun policy goes, what are you trying to hear? Do you? I guess what are you trying to hear? What do you think would fix it?
Personally, I am an advocate for more background checks or more proactive measures to uh I don't know. I'm just in favor of more proactive measures to know who we're giving guns to, and I also just don't believe you should be able to go to a gun show and buy a bazooka. I like shoot me, whatever. Like I just don't believe that should be a thing. Like I just
Insane.
like there are just certain guns to me that should just be off limits unless there is a verified specific need or reason that you have that.
My dad was saying he was like they should have everybody who has like a automatic register, and like if a crime's committed with the automatic, like we're gonna go to whoever it's registered to, and like you're gonna have to suffer with, like we don't want to hear, oh, it was stolen, none of that. But you're gonna face the consequences as well, because like that was your gun. Only thing with that is that I don't think people would register it. If I had one, I definitely wouldn't know in the circumstances. The other thing, and this is what my brother said. He was like, they should stop televising televising mass shootings, similar to how they did like suicides. Like they stopped televising suicides because like it was encouraging people to commit suicide, because like
It was
you
putting the
get
idea in people's
yeah
heads.
you're gonna get some attention off of it. So like, because that's what he was saying too. Like that's what most mass shootings are anyway. It's just suicides. Because how many times has somebody came out alive of a mass shooting? So
Hmm.
I think I think that's part of it. On the gun control part of it, I would have to look a little bit more into guns themselves, like the different types of guns, different type of automatics. Um, what's the AR-15? What's the AK? To know whether or not like the sale of them should be banned, because like the biggest thing on that is you don't want the government to have AKs and civilians don't have AKs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is like you don't want, and the other thing is you don't want people who have armed bodyguards that have AKs telling you that you can't have an AK yourself. Like pretty hypocritical. Um, and then the last thing on it, I think it's more of a mental health issue than a I don't it I think there's a bigger underlying condition there on the fact as to why that's measures like that are being taken. Um, and I don't know what we can do to help prevent that, but I think mass shootings are the effect of a bigger cause.
Yeah, I've heard I've heard people that, were in the military, like these are trained snipers, people that were on the front lines, saying like there is no reason for you to just want to go and commit, do something like that unless like there's something else going on. So I think you're right. Like I think it is indicative of something larger. I like what you said about like not broadcasting it as much, because I'm not gonna lie, like it is definitely becoming like it's one of those things that's sensationalized. And I don't know if you know this, but the definition of a mass shooting is like any shooting that involves more than like four people dying.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that that's not newsworthy or like that shouldn't be talked about or get attention. I'm just saying like when mass shootings were first being reported on like a couple of years ago, it was like, oh, this person, went somewhere and, you know, 30 people died or something like that. And now it's like four people. And so to me, like, I think that goes to your point of giving it more attention than it needs of like, and it like the bar is just lower in general. And I'm not, again, I don't like talking about it in that way because it sounds insensitive, because like
It
if you
does.
know somebody that was involved in a mass shooting, it doesn't matter if it was one person or four people or 60, like that's somebody like that impacts you for sure. So I don't want to understate that or undersell it, but I do think that there's definitely a I don't know, a level of sensationalism that the media portrays by showcasing so many of these instances on television.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And then like even how they keep statistics of it is like it's like probably like 300 and something mass shootings, but like a lot of those is like gang on gang violence, different things like that. And then like the big media ones is probably you probably can count on maybe one hand. I can't remember. I try not to, me personally, I try not to keep up with it too much because like there's nothing really I guess that I can do about it. I don't, again, because I don't necessarily believe in gun reform either. So it's like the most it can do to me is like make me fearful to go outside, and that's not something that I'm trying to do.
I think it's tough because America has already given out so many guns without having any type of measures in place that any type of step back seems like an infringement on rights. It's like, you know, um, in my job, we were talking about there was a time where we had released certain features to customers, and we actually gave it to them for free. And we were, after some time, we were like, hey, this doesn't really make sense for us anymore. We're gonna, cancel this or cut it off. And all of our customers like literally started screaming like, You can't do that. Da, 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 X, Y, and Z. We go look at the numbers. Not one of them is using it. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like you try to take it away, and people get upset. Like so, that's part of the problem of like for so long in America, it's been so easy to get guns and to basically do whatever you want with a gun that any type of step back from that seems like it's restricting people's rights or it's revoking rights when in my opinion some of those measures should have never been allowed in the first place.
Yeah, I think the only thing on it though is that again, like most people who not most people. I think the biggest thing on is that you want to have equal guns as the government so that they can't just take you over. At least that's almost been like the foundation of the Second Amendment um in the United States anyways. Because if all I got is a pistol and the government got AKs, I'm cooked. And there ain't much we can
I
do.
mean, but like my thing is, well, first off, this is the United States. The government is always going to have more guns than civilians. That's just always going to happen. The other thing is, if there's ever a situation like that, other countries will supply the guns. That's literally what happens. That's what we do. We supply guns to civilians in Cuba, in Iraq, in Iran. Like that's what we've done historically. That's what we're doing in Ukraine. That's what the European countries are doing in Ukraine. So if there is an instance in which, the American people feel a need um, to fight back in that way, or there's a civil war or something happening, like there are ways to get guns, and there are people, countries that will help supply that and provide that.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there. Yeah, you bring up a good point there. I'm standing 10 toes down on it, but that's a good point.
Let me know, but like what are you thinking about? Like is like what are the other things that you would want to hear about for the presidential election?
Oh, I heard something pretty cool. I think it was from Ted Kennedy Jr.
Mm.
Ted Kennedy Jr. He
I
had
think
brought
it's
up
Rob. Is it Robert Kennedy Jr.? I don't know. I know who you're talking about, but I like him. I
and
like
to
him.
be honest, Ted could be short for Rob for all we know, same way Bob is short for William.
Yep.
Sure. Um, but he had brought up something on like the food supply, and like health related stuff. I would love to see that more. I heard a statistic recently that was like 70% of Americans is obese. Pretty insane. Um, that's really insane, actually. And I hear all the anecdotal stories on how like you go to Europe, eat the same food that you eat in America, you lose weight. You eat the same food in America, you're gaining weight. So like, obviously, there's a big problem there, and so I would want to see it talked about more because it's not being talked about like it's an issue. Like it's not being talked about, and it's clearly an issue. Like 70% of people shouldn't be obese. Um,
Hey, Michelle Obama tried to do that, junk, and they they ain't like when she changed the school lunches.
I don't like what she changed the school lunch to either. She sold us. She really sold us. I'll never forget that.
I'm dead. I get what you're saying. Though you're talking about like the way that the food is manufactured. It is like legitimately different. Like if you go other places and you like go out of the country, eat a banana, have some juice, like the simplest things just taste different. And you like, why? Like I thought a banana was just a banana, and it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. So trying to figure out one, I want to hear it recognized as a problem, um, so that the conversation can then be around how do we solve this problem, and then schooling in general. Oh, I feel like it's really outdated. I feel like it's extremely outdated. I don't know why people are in school for 8 hours. I don't know why we teach half the stuff that we teach. And then I feel like at some point you have to start doing things differently. And I think we're way past that point, especially in the technology age, to
Mhm.
where I would like to hear somebody come in and be like, hey, this is an idea that I have for how we can train up the next generation of whatever the case may be. Um,
I feel like, what my thing, like I would love to hear that. And I always think about like 4 years is not enough. 8 years isn't even enough. So you really got to be thinking on like a 25, 30-year plan for something like that. And you're probably not going to get the level of consistency to uh to make that work, much less even get it off the ground, unless you have both the presidency and Congress on the same, on the same page. It just, I don't know. And personally, I feel like politics today has become much more about disagreeing with each other than actually finding solutions that work.
Yeah. Because it really be seeming like just one big Ponzi scheme at some point. Like, what do y'all up here? What do y'all up here in office doing? What are y'all getting paid to do? Let me know that. But and you bring up a good point too, because it might be more of a local issue than a federal issue. So because like you're right, 8 years isn't enough time to do that. Somebody would have to come up with a vision. And then I feel like first it would have to be tested somewhere too. Like to try to roll it out on a national scale, that would be pretty insane. It'd be pretty insane. So I would love to see. I would love to know if anybody's doing that on a local level, and then hear it brought up like on a national level.
Well, see that. So I think, what I think is important is at the presidential level, they're not going to be able to influence that, but they can help put us on a track by influencing the way our budgets are allocated. Like, you could allocate more money to education, right? Like, and provide resources to do better or to try things like that, because like there are school systems that do things differently. They're just private schools and you pay $50,000 a year for your kid to go there, or maybe even a charter school, right? Like, there are systems in America that work this way and that are more effective, and they have the numbers to show it. It's just that if you want to take that to something that's public, the funding isn't there. It's not, it's not a priority. Where, we've been, we'll spend 13 billion on weapons and military defenses, and then we'll cut the education budget by 5 billion. It's like, does it really, like, I don't know. I would like to see a well thought out plan. And again, to me, that's why I say like fiscal policy is very important to me in this election cycle.
Yeah, like let's start admitting that we have problems in certain places so that we can start working on fixing these problems. Because I mean, I feel like every year we hear the same stuff. I feel like every year we hear the same stuff, and that's why it be seeming like a big Ponzi scheme. I'm on the left side of this issue. I'm on the right side of this issue. I just need 51% of people to vote for me.
Hey, every election cycle, it's the Democrats got rid of all the jobs and they made the gas prices higher. The Republicans got rid of all the jobs and they made gas prices high. That's all they talk about. That's all they say. They be like, "Hey, look at the unemployment rate. Look where the gas prices were when the last party was in charge, and look where they are now. They don't care about you. Blase, blase, blah." It's stupid.
The economy was better. Blah. Yeah, it's every time, bro. Like, I don't know. That's two things that I really want to hear. And I think that's all I have for now. Because I'm not big into politics, anyways. I would have to dive a little bit deeper, and maybe I should, but it won't happen this election cycle, especially if it's two people that's 99 and a half running against each other.
I hope Joe Biden don't win the nomination.
You can't put nobody against him. He's an incumbent.
Bro, what's it called? Bobby Kennedy's, he's running against him. I'm voting for him in everything. Bro. Let the Democrats put Joe Biden up there if they want to. That would be the stupidest thing they've done in the last 10 years. And they know it too.
You gonna remind everybody that we still got student loans?
But I'm gonna write that shit on the ballot.
Boy, I am crying, bro.
That man gonna have it's gonna be whatever the vote count is, it's gonna be 49% Joe Biden, 50% somebody else, and one vote for fix my student loans, and that's gonna be me.
You think it's gonna get more votes than Harambe did?
Hey, it depends. If it starts a movement, bro, it can. But I don't know, bro, because I don't know that jump pissed me off. I'm so mad about that.
No, that's hilarious. Oh no, I don't think it would be foreign policy though. But just I guess on a global scale, I saw this thing where it was like 110 countries are developing a digital currency. And I try to do a little bit of digging. It's so crazy because like I don't even fully understand what digital currency is. And it's like I haven't got my foot on that, and now I hear like 110 countries are at some point in the development process. So it's like I don't know, man. Things are just kind of feeling a little bit hard to keep up with. I don't know where that comes into play, why it comes into play. Because like I said, I still haven't pieced together why crypto is a thing yet. Either I know it's supposed to like decentralize money, but I haven't got a grasp on how it works. Just kind of wanted to see if you
Well,
had
I
any.
think there's
Yeah.
a, I think there's a, I think there's a personally, I think there's a fundamental problem with nations developing their own digital currency in a system that was meant to be decentralized and not allow centralized ownership of monetary, items. I just think
So
that
it's an
there's a fundamental
oxymoron:
problem. Yeah, I just think there's a fundamental problem with that. Um,
centralized, decentralized money.
yeah, and there's a whole conspiracy theory around it. Like there's I'm not, I gotta go read up on this, but somebody was telling me that there's an idea that if you register a business, you would have to transact using that nation's digital currency or whatever. Otherwise, you like ultimately, if a nation is successful in establishing a digital currency and having that be the primary and ultimately only form of currency, there is no business that the government doesn't know about. You see what I'm
Mm,
saying?
mm-hmm.
So like you register, you have your social security number, like all of it is then tied to your digital footprint, and now they have control and access to quite literally your bank account. So there is a conspiracy theory there. Again, like I said, I've got to dig into it a little bit more. I understand it because I think there are also tiers to it, right? Where I understand it for developing countries and emerging countries that want to take advantage of new technology to be able to catch up to the bigger players in the economic and global scene. But I don't know that it's a I don't know that it's a thing where it's a good idea for everybody to go and do this. I mean, because like I don't know, I feel like it's the same thing as like when Netflix came out streaming. Like when Netflix first came out with streaming, like it was cool. And then Netflix and Hulu and I don't know, like Amazon Prime, and you're like, okay, cool. Like I don't need cable. But now you've got 60 billion streaming services, and it's the same thing as cable.
Yep.
So there is definitely a risk of, all of these different countries are going to develop their own currency, and we're just going to be right back where we started, just on our phones. So
Yeah, that's a good point. The other thing I heard on it too was supposed to make transferring money easier. Um, I'm not sure in which way, but that's the other part. That's one of the other benefits that I've heard to it. But I kind of agree with you. Like if everybody has their own digital currency, we're right back where we started. Like it might not be 10 years from now, but probably 20 years from now, we're right back where we started. Because like same spot. More things change, more things remain the same. They always say. Um, but yeah, that's what I was looking at. I was like, man, like I didn't think crypto and Bitcoin and all this stuff was that big, but maybe I got to start brushing up on my knowledge, man. That's crazy. I feel like a
I
billion.
want to see the Forex traders come back because they've been quiet for too long.
They got no PPP loans and started. They just got it. They got in the wind, boy. They got in the wind.
I'm dead. They sure did. They got them PPP loans and dip. That's it. Some of them are doing credit repair now. That's the new thing.
Mhm.
They went to start that business.
We need to do a bolo on them and the NFT people because I don't see none of them no more, bro. None of them no
Nah,
more,
the
bro.
NFT thing, that was wild. That was wild. That was like, or I don't know if you ever saw, like, there used to be these people that did the little "you should be here" thing. They had like a blue sign, and they was like, "Oh, if you sign up for this thing, you get all these vacation perks and da 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 da." It was basically like one of those marketing kind of things, right?
I'm
But like
sure.
that was their no, it wasn't. No,
Okay,
it
okay,
definitely
okay.
wasn't. No, it wasn't no time. It was like multi-level marketing, basically. Like you get people to sign up, and that's basically what it was. And it was like, and they had like this little thing was their gimmick. And like the NFT thing was kind of like that because it's like, all right, I'm gonna draw something on paint on my computer and I'm gonna digitize it and tell you that it's really worth $1 million and you come buy it and then you sell it to somebody else for $1,003. Like, no, no, no. No.
You know the thing though, the first time NFTs came up, I thought it was supposed to be if there is a meme around me that's circulating, I'm supposed to get paid off of it. That's the very I don't want to say first, but that was the idea behind NFTs that I heard about. Like you're getting paid for like your property that's on the internet. I don't know where all of this digital art came from and why people was buying it to begin with.
No, I mean you're absolutely right, but the thing is that it became too easy. It became too democratized to create digital art. Anything is digital art now. You know what I'm saying? So like you and I could, like I said, we literally just scribble something on, on an app on the computer, and we say, "Oh, this is my creation. I'm an artist. Pay me hella money for it." And because it's digital, it's a lot harder to prove the value of it, right? Like
Mhm.
it's just harder. So it became this thing where, and like at the same time, because we have so many more influencers and so many more uh, people with large audiences, like it that automatically decreases its value, right? Like if you've got 10 influencers and they're like, "Oh, hey, I made a painting," or you can buy my logo, like, whatever. But if you got 10,000 influencers and they're all like, "Hey, you can buy my logo," it don't matter because I probably like 100 of them. I'm not gonna spend money on all 100.
And the biggest thing I seen on NFTs was like board ape yacht club. But like as far as I know, it was basically like a ticket to the club. So it's like why is it being masked behind like an NFT though? I didn't really understand that. And like if you sell it, do you lose like your membership to the club or do you get to keep that? Like it just didn't make any sense because like the art itself, like most art, no pal is not worth $1 million.
You're absolutely right. The idea around it was that because it's digital and it has a unique identifier, it can serve as a token to X, Y, and Z, right?
Mhm.
So like, oh, I'm going to the club. I'm a member of this club. Here's my ticket. It's an NFT. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the selling point or the idea behind it. It's just that the communities that came about didn't really have enough value. Like it just didn't take off the way people expected it to, right? Because like you've got to one have enough exclusivity, but also make it popular enough that people hear about it and want to join. And there were too many people that were like, I'm not paying for a picture on the internet that I could just go get a picture of. There were
Screenshot.
just yeah, like there were just too many people that didn't believe in the value of it or the value behind it.
Yeah. I wonder if it'll make a comeback.
I
But
feel like if there's ever, I mean, it's a product, right? So like any other product, if it ever finds the right product market fit, there is a space for it. Probably not in the same way or at the same scale of popularity, but there could be a valid use case for it at some
I th-
point.
I think it called a good people who got in early called it good stroke of luck because crypto was just taking off and everybody was like heard about missing out on crypto. Oh,
Hmm.
crypto just took off. Here's this next thing that's supposed to be similar in some way to it. All right, let me get in on this. Oh,
Yeah. People were hearing that it's built on blockchain
yep,
technology, and that was it. They were like, okay, bet.
Ethereum. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my chance to get in and get rich.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
good.
crazy. There was one other thing I think I wanted to touch on. What two or three books would you recommend to somebody, and then what two or three books would have had a big impact on you if they're different?
Books I would recommend to.
Oh, and what are you
Okay.
trying to what are you trying to help them get from it? Like why are these the books? Or like
My all-time favorite, probably my all-time top book is Seven Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. Just a great all-around book about how to be a better human being, literally. And I think it's just so applicable to any aspect of life, whether that's work, relationships, your personal life, doesn't really matter.
bro,
That would probably be the first
that's
book
a
I'd recommend.
self-help staple, bro. Like
Hmm.
anybody who I think is going down that path has like started first three books for sure. Seven Habits of
Yep.
Highly Effective People. It's top three for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That junk is it's just great. It's just great. And it's easy to read too. Like that's what's good about. Like it is very plain. And I've said this before, but like the best advice when somebody gives you really good advice sounds very common sense. And everything in that book sounds so common sense that you're like, duh. But like it's sound advice.
That's that touches on one thing that I've been preaching lately. I've been telling everybody that like cliches are only cliche because they were cliches when we got here. Like at the
Mm.
first, like if you heard it for the first time, you would be like, nah, this makes a lot of sense. But because it was
Hmm.
already a cliche, we'd be like, ah, that's just another cliche. But then you
Yeah.
apply that junk, like, no, like this is some sage wisdom here.
Yeah.
But have you read it recently, or when was the last time you read it?
Um I didn't read the whole. I think I went through part of it last year,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been a while since I read the entire book.
Mm-hmm.
I might do it this year though. I
I
might
might
go
I
back
might
and
do it now that you brought it up.
yeah, I might go back and read it this year. Because I've been thinking about it. I think I actually pulled it out. It's probably sitting on my bookshelf somewhere.
I don't have to the
Because I was
books
like,
we didn't finish.
hey, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna start this. Yep. That happened. Um. Oh, let's go one for one. So
Oh,
you
one
give
for one.
me. Yeah.
And then question: are your books are they the same? So the books that you recommend are they going to be the same ones that had the biggest impact on you?
I'm gonna have to
Good.
distinguish as I
All right,
go.
cool. All
Yeah.
right, cool. All right, so that's your first one. My first one's gonna be, oh, somebody if somebody asked me for a book recommendation, I'm gonna tell them "Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It." It's by like Naval Ramakant, maybe I can't remember.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not. I don't think that's by. I don't think that's at all who it's by. My bad, bro. I won't disrespect you like that. Let me grab it right quick. Oh, okay, I was right. Oh, come on, Rabbit Con. Yeah, it was about Kamal Ravikant. That's funny because I did that once before. I could not remember the author about it. But the reason that's on my list is because I want somebody I want them to figure something out, and from all the books that I've read, that's like had the best starting point. So like the thing that I want them to realize is that, and I hope this doesn't sound too woo woo, but like you have everything that you need to be the person that you would like to be. So like too often we go chasing this, hoping that once we get it, we feel this way, blah, blah, blah. So this book is a very, and like if you go down that rabbit hole deep enough, you're gonna get to like who am I and how was I created. But this book does a really good job of starting before you go down that rabbit hole. It's just like you need to love yourself like your life depends on it because it does. So like if you start by doing these things here in this book, then you'll start to see why that's true. once you start to see why that's true, then it's going to lead to further questions. It's going to lead to further questions that might take you down that rabbit hole. But I think this is a very good starting point to that. So that's the first one out. That's the first one I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to soft intro you into that because like I like a lot of books that go down that rabbit hole. But that's one of the books that has the softest intro to it.
When was the first time that you read that book?
First time that I read that book was 2020, maybe Mayish, Augustish, August, Septemberish, maybe.
Okay.
2021. So it's been 2 years.
Okay. Ooh. I'm kind of torn. I'm thinking about the next book. There's two options. I would probably say The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, The Richest Man in Babylon. This is one of my personal favorites. It wouldn't be like top 5. It might be just outside my top 5 of books all time. But I like it because it's a very easy to read book, and it has like sound principles on like how to like manage your money, how to manage wealth and things like that. So like that's a book that I would recommend definitely as an intro to personal finance for anybody that's like trying to get started, because again, like this is more focused on the principles behind money. And I think like, a lot of times, especially the people I talk to, a lot of times people are like, oh, what do I need to do? Like, what's the tactical advice? Like, and it's like, unless you understand the practical, principles behind it, it's not really going to hit the same. It's the same thing as like when people try to, work out or lose weight or bulk up, like you can go find all these videos on like, oh, take this pill and take this supplement and do this. But if you don't understand the fundamental principles behind how food works and how your body works, it's not going to be effective really, or it's not going to be as effective as it could be.
Calorie intake versus calorie output, or whatever you want to call it, and then progressive overload. That's the foundation to it. So like all the diets and all the stuff, that's like all of those are tactics. If that's what you now, I get that. It's interesting though, because like I don't remember that book exactly, but you're right. Like it has pay 20% of your debt, invest however much percent, things of that nature, like principles, whether you have $1 million or $1,000 that you should do. And the thing with that too is I was talking to one of my old bosses the other day, and he was telling me like the determining factor between whether or not somebody is wealthy is not how much they invest, but that they invest. So you'll get something like that from The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a similar book that I have no idea the name of it. I probably couldn't even put my finger on it if I looked for it, that has some really good finance principles in it. And it's funny too, because because you've read Millionaire Fastlane, right?
I don't think so. I think you read that one. I don't think I read it though.
Oh, you read Millionaire Next Door.
Yep, that's the one I did.
Okay, there you go. I didn't like books like that because they didn't tell you how to get rich, but they all had principles in it. So it's like now looking back, it's like, oh, like now I get it, because like the tactics are gonna change, but like if you follow the principles, you should hit that. You should hit it eventually. That's a good book though, Richest Man in Babylon. I might have to reread that. I was in college when I read that, so I couldn't apply nothing.
Hey, and it's funny you mentioned the other book, because that's the book I was going back and forth between Millionaire Next Door. That's the other one that I really liked as well. But I think Richest Man in Babylon is probably better.
I hate the theory. I hate the theory on like not the theory, but I hate the idea of not looking rich. And I think that's what Millionaire Next Door does, right?
Yeah, they talk about it. Yeah, they talk about how like the average millionaire is just like your next door neighbor, and they have a 2004 Ford, Toyota Corolla or something like that. Yeah.
The next book that I have, and it was hard because like I had to try to think about all the books that I read, and it's been so many in like the last 8 years, I guess, that I read, and I was like, dang, which ones are the most impactful? But the one that I'm gonna go with next is a book called Happy Pocket Full of Money. That's one of the books that before I read Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, I probably would have told you to start with. But it's a little woo woo. Like it's base level. It would probably be the next step from this, but it's base level. But it talks about wealth. Oh, I take that back. Yeah, I'm gonna stay true. It talks about
Okay.
wealth consciousness. It talks about wealth consciousness, and then the way that it does it takes away the, or at least it attempts to take away the chasing aspect of it. So there are some principles in there that work on the way the world is built or the way the world works. So like giving you shall receive type message, being grateful for what you have type message, things like that. And I
Mm.
think that is pretty big, especially when it comes to the fact that in the first book, I was trying to tell you that you already have everything inside you that you need to get whatever it is that you want. This one takes it one step further, and it shows you how to proceed getting those things that you want while keeping that in mind, and that you already have it inside you or whatever.
Okay.
The
Okay.
the other the other book, right quick, because I'm not gonna add it to my list. It's called You Were Born Rich. That might
Oh, I've heard that
that
one.
book's pretty tough. That book's pretty tough.
I've heard of that one. I haven't read it yet though.
It's a little woo woo too, though. It's a little woo woo, but it's a good one. It's a good one.
Wait, what do you mean when you say woo woo?
Anything that has to do with like the universe, law of attraction, anything like that's woo woo.
The most woo woo book I've read um is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon, whatever his name is.
Hill.
Yeah, that book, I like people kept talking about it. They kept was like, "Oh, this is one of the greatest books." Like da 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 da. And I remember reading it, and I was just like, "This is a big book, and I'm halfway through this book, and I haven't learned anything yet other than manifest and believe in yourself."
That's
And I
hilarious.
was, and I was just like, "Bro, like I get it, but you didn't need to write a 600-page book to tell me that." You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. That's funny, bro, because I was literally talking about this book last. I was literally, was it last week? I think it was last week. I was literally talking about that, and the consensus was that book is horrible. Yeah, that's the overall consensus, and that's right up there with Stephen Covey's book and like the books you're gonna read once you get into
Yep.
self help.
Yep.
That book is horrible. I thought it was anyways at the time. I didn't like the language that he used either. I thought it was
Me either.
real like Shakespearean.
Yeah.
Um, but You Were Born Rich referenced it, so I went back and read a couple chapters. I think that book's pretty good now.
Interesting.
The concepts of it are good. As a whole, I don't think it's good. And then there's this other part in the book that I might mention that he says that like some authors get rich talking about some authors get rich talking about I don't know if it's what they did to get rich, but like instead of doing it, like you didn't get rich and then you wrote this book. Like you got rich because you wrote this book.
Like
So like you didn't follow, yeah.
people that get rich by selling you a course on how to get rich.
I sell courses. Like you're rich because it is not because you followed this. And like
Yeah.
he talks about in that book that he doesn't like Think and Go Rich for that specific reason. But I
Mhm.
think it got some stuff in it. There's a couple chapters I like in it.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's
Um,
not the book though. The book was
that was You Were Born
Happy
Rich,
Pocket
right?
Full of Money. Happy
Oh,
Pocket Full of
happy.
Money.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
With
Yeah,
that
You Were
asterisk
Born
by
Rich.
You Were Born Rich. Yep.
Okay. I'm a pivot and do one that was most impactful for me.
Mhm.
And that is Barking Up the Wrong Tree by I don't know the dude's name. I don't know the dude's name, but Barking Up the Wrong Tree it's actually a really good book. That was there it is, Eric Barker. Um, but like the tagline for it is why everything you know about success is mostly wrong. It's the science behind why everything you know about success is wrong. And I thought it was pretty interesting because it was like it took a contrarian point of view on a lot of things. Like it talked about playing by the rules. It talked about why people get bored of stuff and how that uh contributes or how that detracts from the ability to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
um it talks about the difference between extroverts and introverts. It was the first time I think I learned more about the concept of being a generalist versus being a specialist, and how being a generalist can be just as successful as being a specialist. And this was in a time when like people were very much saying like you should specialize in
Yep.
something. Um, and I don't know, like I thought it was really good because it takes all of these popular sayings or these things that these anecdotes that you might hear, and it really explores both sides of it, which I think is really cool because it doesn't just say like, oh, this is wrong. He says this is mostly wrong, but here are the times where it could be right. And I like that dynamic of like that going back and forth. So that was one of the books that was most impactful for me.
How'd you come across it, and how long ago was this?
This was back in like 2018, 2019. I might have came across it from I think it was a VP that recommended it to me, or he might have given me their book to read when I was interning. And so I read it, and it was, I mean, top tier book.
I might have to check it out. It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds fine. The book, because I had two. The book that the first one I'll mention is Talent is Overrated. It's
I've
really
heard of
it's
that.
really similar to the Pareto principle, maybe. What's that book that is like 10,000, that's what it's called, 10,000 hours. It's very
Okay, yeah.
similar to 10,000 hours. But the reason I like it so much is that it just broke down basically anything that you're trying to accomplish to 10,000 hours. Like Tiger Woods, his dad had him golfing when he was 2. Mozart, dad was a composer. Things like that. So it's like, all right. Oh, like even like people who become like first tier violinists by like
Mm-hmm.
age 18, or grandmasters in chess by like such a short age, been doing it 10 years. Um, so I like that book because it was like it's gonna come down to the work that you put in, which really brought like to earth being able to accomplish something big. Like it's not gonna happen overnight. You don't have to put them 10,000 hours in. You do it when you 20 from year 20 to year 30, year 30 year 40, year 12 to 22. But that's basically what it's gonna come down to is 10,000 hours.
Mm, that's
But the
fair.
book is Talent is Overrated. I didn't read 10,000 hours, but same principle.
Um, and then the last book I got, this is also a book that was most impactful, was Never Split the Difference. By, is it Jeff
Chris Voss.
Voss?
Chris
Chris
Voss.
Voss, yeah.
Yeah, that book is fun.
Um, yeah, that was one of the most impactful books. It's a book that talks about negotiation, how to think about negotiating with people, things that you should, do and say. It's really good because it gives you like really tactical advice for specifically negotiating things, but at the same
Mhm.
time, it also has concepts in there that are applicable to just life and how you have conversations and stuff like that in general.
Yeah, because it's gonna come down to making connections, and then stuff like mirroring, stuff like labels is gonna
Mm-hmm.
help you make the connection. It's gonna help you active listen as well. Um, Now that book is fine, and then like in the videos where he's like where they role play like between the hostage and the negotiator, those things are
Yeah.
fire. Those things are
Yeah.
fire. That re- Before I do my last one, that reminds me when we was talking about the presidential debate, I was supposed to announce that right here on the Commons podcast, me and you was going to have our very own presidential debate.
What? We gonna do what, bro?
Oh man, I forgot to announce that. It's all jokes, but I forgot. I had thought about that joke. But anyways, on to my last book. Last book was the 4-Hour Work Week, and I cannot remember who it's by. It's somebody that's pretty famous at this point.
It's not Ray Dalio, is it?
It's not Ray. I was wondering if Principles was gonna make it, but Principles, it was too. I don't even know if I finished Principles. It was too big. But I can't remember. There's somebody pretty common. But anyways, the reason that one was impactful to me is just it flipped the whole paradigm of life on its head to me. Like into
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss. Yep. Up until that point, it was basically go to work, go to college, find a good job, get married, retire, die. That was it. His was like, I'm working 4 hours a week, making this much money. So it was like, I didn't know this thing right here was possible. This was the only thing that was in my sights up until that point. I was going to try to corporate ladder my way to millionaire status, which isn't impossible, but it just offered a different paradigm. So from that book, that was basically my second introduction into self-help. Like, it is where I figured out about like copywriting and a whole bunch of different other stuff that led me to books like Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on a Happy Pocket Full of Money. So like, I wouldn't even suggest anybody reads it. Not that it's a bad book, but like the paradigm shift is what did it for me, not the actual info that I got from the book.
I've never read that book, but I'm curious, like, does he talk about, it sounds like, something that's like the concept of like creating systems or things that work for you to make money when you're not actively doing something. Does he talk about that in that book or not really?
Yeah, he does. If I'm not mistaken, he does talk about it. He gives you ways on how to do it as well. But I was in college at the time, so none of it was that relevant to me. But yeah, like I said, it's probably a good book, but I can't remember it to be like, oh yeah, go read it. Because that's not why it was impactful to me, just a whole paradigm shift.
Yeah.
But it's probably worth a read. But I can't put that stamp of approval on it yet. One more.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first self-help book that you read? Oh, I know mine. I forgot about this one. It's hilarious too. This probably
go ahead. I'm gonna look mine up.
7 Habits is probably number 2.
Yeah.
What did we say was number 3? Oh, Napoleon Hill's book was number 3. But the number 1 self-help book of all time, bro. Do you want to take one guess? You're gonna say yeah. When I say it, you're gonna say yeah. You're right.
What is it?
Rich Dad.
I knew you was gonna say that.
That's the number 1 self-help book.
I knew you was gonna say that,
bro.
And I hate that book. I don't hate it, but yeah, it's funny because I was looking at, bro. I wish I could show you. I was literally looking at number 1 of my books read from 2018 is Rich Dad Poor Dad. So as you was getting ready to say it, I was like, bro, I feel like this is what it is. But yeah,
I'm already knowing, bro.
Yeah, that was the first one that got me in there. It was pretty cool. Like I'll say it's a good. It's similar to how you were talking about like the 4-Hour Work Week. It's a good paradigm shift, book, like a book to kind of change your mindset and your perspective on how you think about money. I don't think it's the greatest book about money or the greatest book about, self-help or anything like that. But if you've never been introduced to that and you want a way to, like, a different way of thinking about it, I think the reason it's so impactful for a lot of people is because he gives those 2 examples. Like he says, oh, I had one dad that was like this, and everybody can relate to that. And he said, oh, I had another dad that was like this, and people are like, oh, I didn't have no dad like that was like that. So you kind of like that. You can kind of compare throughout the book and see how those things, turned out ultimately. So yeah, it's definitely one of the most popular. Number 1, like the most popular
Kiyosaki.
But yeah. There's one of those things. Yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in for this episode of the Commons Podcast. And we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and share it with at least 2 people this week.
Let us know what books y'all recommend, what policies y'all want to see on the ballot next November. Let us know.
Facts. Yeah, drop a comment because I want to know, like, for real. And no. Let me know if you plan on voting for Joe Biden if student loans don't get canceled. I'm coming for you, man. Like, I'm gonna be at your house. For real. We gonna have to throw hands. But all right, y'all. That's it. We'll catch you on the next one.